And if you put your needs money in the stock market and the stock market starts doing the funky Watootsie and zooming and booming every which way but up, then you may find yourself upset. All right, a common question that people ask me is, okay, Hyacinth, I've looked at my inflows and my outflows. I looked at both sides of the coins. I know how much money is coming in versus how much money is going out. And now I want to start building this house. I want to start investing. I want to start saving. What do I do? So a very high level response that many of you will be able to implement today would be to, number one, set up an account that covers your basic expenses. Those are your living expenses, your tuitions, your schooling, your education, all the basic expenses, the things that must be paid on a monthly or annual basis. Set up an account for those expenses. The next account that I want you to set up is a Save My Life account. Now, this is different than a regular savings account. If you recall, I refer to a savings account as a set-aside account because you're either setting it aside to invest it or to spend it. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about your Save My Life account. The Save My Life account is an account that you are not touching unless you need to break the glass to save your life. Why do I suggest that you do this? I suggest that you do this because it creates some barriers around your access to the money. If you set it up as a regular savings account, then what you can find yourself doing is what many people do is constantly going into their savings account because they're going to put it back, or they must have this, or they need new tires or something like that. And so I like to distinguish that there is a difference between a set-aside account and a Save My Life account. So first you got that needs account, then you have that Save My Life account. And when you establish that Save My Life account, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the numbers. Remember, you've already looked at what's coming in versus what's going out. You already know how much you need to come in and go out every month. And you're going to make a plan to have 3 to 6 months of needs in that needs account. After you do that, or while you're doing that, you're going to shift to the Save My Life account. Based on your numbers, you're going to figure out a number that you're going to put in your Save My Life account. And get this, you're going to fund it every single week or every single month. The key to your Save My Life account is funding it consistently. Every day you want to live, so every month or every week, you got to be thinking about putting something aside to save your life. The next 2 buckets that I want you to think about, and these aren't necessarily accounts yet, but these are buckets. The next 2 buckets that I want you to think about is your short-term goals bucket and your long-term goals bucket. Now, if we want to go back to the set-aside or savings account, some of the money that you would have set aside in that set-aside account could be used for your short-term or long-term goals. I like to break it up this way because it allows people to put a timeline on their goals. And when you put a timeline on your goals, then we can figure out which tools we're going to use to build the house. Understand what I'm saying? When I say which tools we're going to use to build the house, what I'm basically saying is once I put a timeline on my goal, I get to figure out if I need a hammer to unscrew this socket, or if I need a flathead or a Phillips, or do I need a power drill? But until you know what your short-term and long-term goals are, you really don't know which tools are best suited for the project, right? So short-term goals could be something like your dream vacation, could be something like going back to school. Your short-term goals could be something like preparing for the car upgrade because your car needs to be upgraded in about 18 months. A short-term goal could be preparing for something like buying 4 new tires. You know that you just bought tires 2 years ago and the tread is starting to wear on it. So your short-term goals are going to be things that you wish to accomplish, I would say within the next 6 to 24 months. That's going to go in your short-term goals bucket. Your long-term goals bucket are things that you're looking to accomplish, I would say 5, 10 years and beyond. So in our long-term goals bucket, typically people put things like retirement and home purchases. whether it's their first home purchase or their investment property. That goes into the long-term goals bucket. Why does this matter? It matters because when you have your money coming in, you can sit here and look at all of your buckets, your needs bucket, your save my life bucket, your short-term goals bucket, and your long-term goals bucket, and decide where you want each dollar to go. You have to give every dollar a job and understand that every dollar has a different job to do. The job that your dollars that go into your needs bucket, their job is different than the dollars that go into your long-term goals bucket. What I'm saying to you is, if you need money to pay your rent and your mortgage and your everyday living expenses, that money may not be best suited in the stock market, because we know that the stock market is a long-term investment. And if you put your needs money in the stock market and the stock market starts doing the funky Watootsie and zooming and booming every which way but up, then you may find yourself upset or having some emotions because you had your money in the wrong bucket. And you're like, wait a minute, I need my money to pay my bills or to pay my kids' tuition, but it's over here moving and zooming and it's down right now. So this is why the buckets are important, right? So you understand that when the money comes in, you're gonna put some money in that needs bucket. You're gonna put some money in that save my life bucket. This is very important because a lot of times people have this obsession with paying off all their credit cards and they never set money aside for their Save My Life account. And I say to them, if you get so caught up in paying off all your credit cards to the point that you don't set money aside in your Save Your Life account, when an emergency happens and you have no money in your Save Your Life account, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna have to put on a credit card. Right, so you're gonna go back and charge that credit card again because you have no money in your Save Your Life account. So the needs account and the Save My Life account, those are two very important accounts or two very important buckets that I encourage my clients to establish and to really spend some time with. Then we have the short-term goals and the long-term goals. Now, the dollars that you put in each of these buckets, you can decide which tools you're going to use. Now, let me give you an example. If you are taking a road trip and you know that you have plenty of time, you don't have a certain time to be there, you may decide, long-term bucket, that I get to either drive my car, I get to catch the Greyhound, I get to catch a flight, I may even take the ferry there depending on where the destination is, right? Maybe they have a ferry that will take me. Knowing where you want to go will determine what tools you can put inside your long-term goals bucket. Same thing for your short-term goals bucket, right? So if you got a short-term goals bucket and you need to hit this goal within a shorter period of time, well, maybe you want to invest or use a tool that is better suited for your short-term goals. So I hope this makes sense. I want you to look at your finances in a way that asks you to step back a little bit and really ask yourself, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Because the money will come in, and if you're not careful, the money will go out and be all over the place. And there's nothing wrong with the money going out, but remember, we are here to circulate money and not squander money. And if we're circulating money into investable assets and circulating money into investments such as ourselves and our children and our bodies, then we'll have a better result than if we're squandering money. Okay, my name is Hyacinth Henderson. Thank you so much for your time. Hey, Hyacinth Henderson here, just popping in to remind you that any information shared is information and education and not personal investing advice. Personal investing advice should be specific to you, and therefore you should seek proper financial counsel for personal financial advice. Thank you.